seen something about the intercostal muscles of breathing and exchange. So I hope you all remember that, and we'll go ahead with,
Mechanism of respiration or breathing.
yeah, we have to start with that. Yes, you're right, Beta. Very nice. So till that time we had seen certain important points about the intercostal muscles. So IICM and EICM were the things that we had stopped at. So now we can go ahead with our continuation. That is,
Ma'am,
yeah,
you had given another name for sternum muscles. I forgot and I did not copy at that time. Can you please say?
yeah. One minute, let me start this. Yes. So yeah, see here we had completed about the intercostal muscles, right? Huh. It was also called as, what is the other name for sternum? Can anyone remember that? Does anyone remember? I have given you one.
Breastbone.
Very good, Vijay. Very good. Yes, correct, correct. Okay. It's also called as the breastbone. Yes, fine. So let's,
Thank you, ma'am.
yeah, beta. Let's go ahead with the mechanism of breathing and how exactly is this going to be carried out. Now, anyone having any difficulties in whatever we had done in the earlier class, just go through it very quickly. I'll just recap and give a recap about it so that we are meeting after a week. So
Ma'am, can
it
you
should not
briefly repeat intercostal muscles?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm giving you all a recap about that. Okay, so in the last class, we had done all these things. Yeah, we had started with the external structure of lungs in the last class, and we had seen that how, which is the apex, which is the base, what are the lobes of the lungs, which is having two lobe structure, which is having a three lobe structure, and general morphological background of the lungs we had seen in the last class. Then we talked about the alveoli. We also saw that how the lobules will be divided further. I mean, each lobe will be divided further into a lobule, right? And how the lobules will be further divided into air sacs is something that we have already talked about. Right? And we saw that the structural and the functional unit of the lungs was called as alveoli, right? And we also saw that how many approximately millions of alveoli are going to be present is what that we have seen already, right? Then we had also seen what is the simple squamous epithelium tissue that was the alveoli were composed of. They were called as pneumocytes and all those things. We also had talked about the lecithin, which is a phospholipid, and we also came to know that it is a very important component that needs to be synthesized because lecithin is going to act as a surfactant, and that is going to prevent the alveoli from collapsing, right, by reducing the surface tension. So please don't forget these, uh, you know, points for lecithin, right? Then we saw that the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein, the only two names which are exceptions that I said. Otherwise, rest of the body, wherever the arteries are going to be present or the word artery comes, will be carrying oxygenated blood. Fine. And only the pulmonary artery is the one which is going to carry deoxygenated blood. Right. And vice versa with the veins as well. So even I told you about the differences in that. Then we have seen about the blood capillaries, how they combine, how the veins are going to be, uh, after the oxygenation would get, purified basically. And then they form the pulmonary veins eventually. They enter the left heart, left atrium. I showed you the heart model also, and I explained that when actually we'll be going ahead with the chapter of circulation, that time it will be all the more simple for us to understand this particular part. So as and when we'll move ahead, we'll be, going further into the details of this, right? Then we have seen that the overall from the trachea to the alveoli, how the branching is going to be. The summary we have seen in this particular diagram. We also saw the internal structure of lungs eventually, right? How is this? How is this going to be associated is what we saw. Vertebral column, sternum, how it's going to be completely engaged from all the four sides. We saw the function of the diaphragm as well. Then we came to the intercostal muscles. In that, I had told you all that these are something which are very important to be understood. So we saw there are two classes, external intercostal muscles and internal intercostal muscles, which is EICM and IICM, right? I also told you that EICM are responsible for what? See, it is going to lift the, it is going to lift the sternum upwards and outwards. Okay, so it's going to help in inspiration. I told you that, come on, all of you all just breathe in, है and when you breathe in, when you actually breathe in, that time what is going to happen? The rib cage is going to be blown out, right? So that is what the sternum is going to be shifting upwards, and when you breathe in, see, automatically this is going to be shifting upwards and your rib cage is going to be brought outward, है ना? So that is the main role of your EICM. I told you how they are placed. I had kept the pen and pencil in my hand and I told you how they are going to be from the back side to the front side of the neck. And exactly opposite will be your IICM from the front side to the back side of the neck. So it's going to be actually making a crisscross junctions, which will keep these ribs in place, basically. है ना? So that is what about the EICM and IICM. यहाँ तक हमने stop किया था in the last class, and I guess now we have to start with the mechanism of respiration or breathing, right? So let us understand that how exactly is this going to be taking place. So as we know, when we use the word breathing, the breathing is going to be divided into two phases. The first phase will be inspiration, that is taking in of the oxygen, and the second phase will be the expiration, that is to give out the air from our nostril into the surroundings. So basically, inspiration and expiration together are going to be called as the mechanism of breathing. So let's first concentrate on inspiration. Inspiration, it is the process by which the fresh air enters the lungs. The intercostal muscles, diaphragm, abdominal muscles play a very important role in this activity. During inspiration, diaphragm becomes flat. Come on, you know that the diaphragm was a dome-shaped structure, right? Diaphragm was a dome-shaped structure. Now, when we inspire, what will happen if it is dome-shaped? Dome समझते हो ना बेटा? ऐसे curved है ना अपना diaphragm. So when will inspire, air का pressure आ जाएगा. Air के pressure की वजह से ये जो dome shape है ये क्या बन जाएगा? Flat बन जाएगा. So it was once upon a time like this way. As the pressure of air will be compressed on this diaphragm, it will become flat. तो जो ऐसा है, जो ऐसा curved है, वो pressure उसके ऊपर दबाने की वजह से it will become flat, right? So it is going to be like the diaphragm which is going to become flat. It gets lowered by the contraction of the radial muscle fibers. So radial means side वाले. तो diaphragm के बाजू में जो radial muscle fibers है ना, उनके ऊपर pressure आ जाएगा. So because of the pressure, they will contract, they'll be pulled. They are like this way, they are relaxed, right? जब pressure आ जाएगा इनके ऊपर, तो क्या हो जाएगा? Automatically these which are going to be supporting the diaphragm will be stretched. They'll be pulled. Okay, so they contract. Who contract? The radial muscles. Where are they present? On the sides. Radial means on the sides. Okay, now imagine this. This is हो गया, अब ये फ्लैट हो गया, मतलब इतना स्पेस मिला. It got this much of space, extra. So in this way, the thoracic cavity volume is going to increase. Got it? Now, due to contraction of the external intercostal muscle, EICM, that was responsible for our inspiration. Okay. Then what will happen? Due to the contraction of the external intercostal muscles, the ribs, and the sternum are going to be pulled upward and outward. That was the thing that was happening. EICM was responsible for that only. What was EICM responsible for? Upward and outward, right? So because of this particular inspiration, the ribs and the sternum are going to be pulled upward and outward. And it also results in the increase of the transverse diameter of the thoracic cavity. So transverse diameter in the sense from the side, okay? Transverse diameter. Due to the increase in both, that is the diameter of the thoracic cavity as well as the intrapleural, due to the transverse and due to the thoracic cavity increase. What will happen? See, due to the increase in both diameter of the thoracic cavity, the intrapleural pressure falls. The intrapleural, pleural का मतलब associated with the lung, and intrapleural का मतलब क्या हो गया? You remember the word intrapleural? There are two what? Membrane.
Lungs covering layers.
So the pressure between them will fall. Why the pressure will fall? Why the pressure will fall?
Because the lungs are expanding.
The space has increased. Because there is more space available, the pressure is going to drop down. है ना? So now the pressure falls, causing decompression of the lungs. So lungs will now expand due to the elastic recoilation, and air pressure with the lung will decrease. So this is going to be a simultaneous thing that is going to happen together. Now, what are the three things that we have to remember here? Just I'll summarize very quickly. Now, you start actually breathing. I know you all are breathing, but now start with the inspiration. Actually, you will be, like yoga में कैसे कहते हैं? Come on, breathe in, वैसा वाला फंडा, है ना? So when you actually breathe in, when you are now, I mean, you are consciously breathing. I would rather say consciously breathing. Otherwise, we are 24/7, we are breathing and we have to breathe. But when we breathe consciously, that time what will happen? You come to know that there is going to be the increase in the thoracic cavity due to two things. First, the radial muscles will be pulled, causing the diaphragm to get flattened. So the volume, the longitudinal, like this particular volume is going to increase. At the same time, there is going to be what? There is going to be the contraction of the external intercostal muscles, causing the sternum and the ribs to be brought upward and outward. So don't you think even this space is increasing and even this space is increasing?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, so ये भी बढ़ा, उसकी हाइट भी बढ़ी, बिकॉज डायफ्राम फ्लैट हो गया तो हाइट बढ़ गई है ना? हमारे रिब्स को बाहर खींचा जा रहा है, मतलब ये जो उसका जो टोटल, हाँ, है ना, विड्थ बोलो या फिर टोटल एरिया बोलो, इवन दैट इज गोइंग टू इंक्रीज, राइट? सो overall the cavity has increased. Now due to this, what's going to happen? See, so what will it result in? It will result in increase in both diameter of the thoracic cavities. ऐसे भी बढ़ेगा और ऐसे भी बढ़ेगा, तो ओवरऑल इंक्रीज हो गया, है ना? अब वॉल्यूम, स्पेस जितनी ज्यादा बढ़ती है उतना क्या हो जाएगा? प्रेशर विल फॉल डाउन. As the pressure will fall down, what will happen? Decompression of the lungs. Compression, decompression. Okay, decompression of the lungs. So lungs expand, फूल जाते हैं lungs due to elastic recoil, and air pressure within the lungs will eventually decrease. The greater pressure outside the body now causes the airflow to rapidly reach into the lungs. So the pressure of the air outside is much more than the pressure which is inside. And by the law of diffusion, what we know, always there will be movement from higher pressure to the, from higher concentration to lower concentration, let it be anything. So same thing, now the pressure of the air in the atmosphere is much more as compared to the pressure of the air in our lungs. So automatically there will be diffusion. Understood? So air will rapidly move inside. So this air moving inside is a complete process associated with the movement of the muscle. It's a muscular activity basically. Did you all understand this? This is a very important concept. This is a very important point that we have to understand. Fine. Let me check your doubts. Yeah, there are some doubts that you have put in your chat boxes. Let me see. 1 minute. I'll go one by one. Why don't we contraction and expansion? I didn't get you, but why don't we?
Why don't we feel? Sorry, I forgot to write feel.
Why don't we feel? Because it's going to be a very synchronized process. It is not going to hurt you. It is not going to cause any pain. So when the things are normalized, you will never feel about it. If you actually focus, if you actually focus and you try consciously, as I said, then definitely you will come to. Okay, but it's a very minute observation there. Okay, means radial muscles contract due to the pressure of the air, and due to the contraction of that muscle, the diaphragm lowers. Very good, Soham. Very good. Perfectly, very well understood. Nice, bacha. Barabar hai. Diaphragm part you wanted me to repeat, Pandavi. I guess I repeated. When we take in air, when the air gushes inside, basically what will happen? The diaphragm, which is this way, will become compressed. Flat हो जाएगा. ये flat क्यों होता है? ऊपर से pressure आ रहा है. तो diaphragm के ऊपर pressure आ रहा है. तो जैसे ही diaphragm के ऊपर pressure आ रहा है, तो diaphragm actually नीचे की तरफ compress हो रहा है ना? अब compression के लिए उसको खींचना पड़ेगा, straight करना पड़ेगा. तो ये straight करने के लिए there are going to be the radial muscles. So as there will be a compression felt on the diaphragm, immediately the radial muscles side से उसको pull करेंगे. So जो ऐसा है diaphragm, it will become flat. Understood? Got it? And when it becomes flat, what will happen? The space volume will increase in the thoracic cavity. Okay? So this is what is the diaphragm part.
Ma'am.
1 minute. I'll just clear the doubts which are there in front of me, beta. There are some, doubts coming. So I'll just clear them. I'll come to you again. I have a doubt that radial muscles are contracted due to the pressure of the inhaled air, or it is contracted automatically by us, which causes the volume. No, it is because of the air pressure. It is because of air pressure. Okay. Decompression. Compression is this. I mean, to compress is to squeeze. Decompression is to relax. So when we relax, the lungs will be decompressed. Means they'll be relaxed. When they'll be relaxed, the volume again will be more. Okay, that is decompression. That is going to be relaxation. We contract the muscles due to which the diaphragm lowers down and volume increases. So pressure decreases, and due to low pressure, the air comes in. Yes. But it is, like अंडा पहले या मुर्गी पहले वाला scene है वो, है ना? Because as and when the air will actually come inside, that time the muscles are going to get tightened for the lowering of the diaphragm, and then more of air can gush inside. Okay, so why then will it remain like this only, or will it again become like this way, is something that we have to understand during expiration. So what exactly happens during expiration? That time you will come to know that it's a cyclic process. Once the diaphragm will become like this, once the diaphragm will become like this. So it is because of the air pressure. Because of the air pressure. Okay. Yeah, then it should be expansion of EICM. Expansion of EICM. How can, contraction of external intercostal muscles will cause this to be pulling, na? Suppose this is, I don't have, okay, let me take this only. Suppose this is going to be the lungs, okay? They are like this way, or the sternum to be very specific, okay? Now, they are in place. They are like this way in place. Now, when I pull them, when I contract, when my hand will actually, contract, squeeze, that time don't you think this will be brought up? So when the external intercostal muscles will contract, they will pull the sternum also and the rib cage also upward and outward. It is contraction of it which is going to cause. Yes, last Thursday I'll explain that only, na, that how the mechanism actually takes place. So same mechanism is going to be applicable over here. Okay. Is it possible when the low pressure in the lungs is same as that of the surrounding? Lungs is same as that of the surrounding. That time breathing will be impossible. Jab tak there is no pressure difference there between our lungs and the surroundings, there cannot be inspiration nor can there be expiration. So always there has to be a pressure difference maintained. The minute the pressure difference is resolved, the minute the pressure outside and inside becomes the same, in medical terms, we declare the person as dead. No exchange of gases, no pressure development, nothing remains there. So never an equilibrium should never be, like coming together. If there is an equilibrium between the internal and the external pressures, exchange of gases is going to be stopped automatically. No exchange of gases, the person is dead. Okay? Yeah. Uh, yeah. What is the next one? Then how does the air come in? Because the pressure has not decreased. Air will continuously come in, beta. But the forceful air to come in, to take more and more of air, this is a mechanism. So there is always, when we expire, when you are going to throw out the air, that time you will come to know exactly opposite things are going to happen in our body. So inspiration and expiration, for us to understand, we are dividing it into two parts and we are understanding one part each. It's a simultaneous thing that is going on. So there is always going to be a difference that is going to be taking place in and out because of our inspiration and expiration. It will never be, it will never remain in one position. So immediately as we expire, there is going to be a low pressure belt that will be created in our ribs. That will cause by default the uptake of the next round of inspiration. Okay, so it's the simultaneous process. The simultaneous process. Okay, next one is oh yeah. Arya Bacha, please unmute yourself because creating a disturbance. Yeah. Okay. So now you understood the entire mechanism, how the inspiration actually takes place. Anyone has got any doubts still? Come on.
I just wanted to ask you is that you said that the diaphragm is flattened when we take in air. Is that the reason why, because the diaphragm puts pressure on the abdomen, is that why the abdomen protrudes out when we breathe?
Yes. Very correct. Yes, Shruti, you're very right. Very right. It is all interconnected only. Perfectly. Very well said. Good. Yeah. So we contract the intercostal muscles, the ribs, sternum, and due to which the pressure decreases. Yes. And so the who comes in? Air. Okay. So the air comes in and causes the diaphragm to lower. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Okay. So this is how actually the inspiration mechanism is going to take place in us, and it is taking place in us. In fact. Okay. Good. Yeah. So there is one window that is popping over here. I'll just clear that window and I'll reshare the things because it disturbs everyone otherwise. Well, so this is how the inspiration is going to be taking place. Fine. Now we'll go to the next point about it. Look at it. Diagrammatically, we have explained it very nicely. So just see over here. Air pressure in your lungs causes them to expand to expand to fill up the enlarged space in your thorax. So now that thoracic cavity has increased, so it will be filled in. Look at the movement of the rib cage during the inspiration. Okay, 1 minute. Let my see. So here, if you see the front view, this is the front view. Okay, this is the front view. So from the back side is the vertebral column. This is the front side, which is the sternum. Back side is the vertebral column, front side is the sternum. Okay, these are the ribs which are articulating and coming to attach at the sternum. Right now, this is a complete rib cage. उसके अंदर fit है हमारे lungs. Right now, see, ribs and sternum are raised. They are pulled up. You try to inspire. Try inspiration. What will happen? ये आपका ऊपर आ रहा है कि नहीं पूरा? Rib cage जो है ऊपर की तरफ आ रहा है कि नहीं? Exactly, that is what they are saying. Side view, cross sectional view देखिए what happens from here, this side. See, now here the very first thing that we have to understand is the diaphragm. See, the diaphragm is present, which is going to be dome shape. So this dome shaped diaphragm will now come down. See, the arrows are coming down. So the diaphragm contracts and it flattens. So as this is going to flatten, it was completely. So once upon a time, diaphragm was like this over here. I'll draw if you want. I'll show you how it was. 1 minute. So once upon a time now, this diaphragm which you can see lower was once upon a time like this way. Okay. So look at the space. Look at the space. Look at the distance. How much is the distance now? So now on flattening, this much of cavity has increased. Understood? So once upon a time it was at this particular position. Now due to the air pressure, it is going to be actually pulling downwards. It's going to be pulled downwards. It's going to be flattening. On the other hand, look over here. The ribs and the sternum are going to be raised. You can see from the sideways, these are going to be raised. They are going to be brought upwards. Volume of the thorax increases and the lungs are going to expand. So here there is going to be expansion of the lungs, as you can very well see in the diagram. This is the inspiration wala diagram. This is the inspiration wala diagram which we have done just now. Okay. So same thing they have explained in the diagrammatic form. Okay. What is your doubt, Bichar? In yoga, why does the instructor say breathe with your stomach? Breathe with your stomach. You cannot breathe with your stomach. You have to breathe with your lungs only. You have to breathe so deep that your stomach will be felt that you are breathing. The pressure will be felt like that way. That means you have to take in breathe in a deep breathing because it is a deep breathing. Okay. Yawning is related to oxygen deficiency. It is related to oxygen deficiency. Okay.
Ma'am.
So very nice. Yeah. Bolo.
Then why do they say that when you're yawning, you're sleepy?
When you are?
When you yawn, parents say that, oh, now you're sleepy, now go to sleep. Why does that happen? That from when we were kids, since that time, when we used to yawn, they used to say that, oh, she's sleepy, now let her sleep, and stuff like that. If yawning is just a deficiency of oxygen.
You type your question because your voice is very low. Your voice is very low, or maybe there is something like, my system is not working properly.
Now, actually,
because others, whoever are speaking in between, I can listen to them very nicely. I get what they are saying. But just now, Shruti, I said something, I could hear it very perfectly. But your voice is becoming very low in between. I don't know. Okay. So after inspiration, we come to the next one, that is going to be expiration. As I said, it's going to be like ek ke baad ek, a continuous cycle which is going to take place. Exactly opposite things are going to happen up in expiration. Let us see. It is a process by which the foul air, of course, foul air means the one which is going to contain CO2, is going to be expelled out from the lung. It's a passive process. Passive process and active process. Active process is something which is done deliberately, which is forcefully done, which requires energy input. Wherever energy ये word आएगा, वहाँ पर active ये word आएगा. So wherever there is going to be energy input, that's going to be an active process. On the other side, there is no energy input, we call it as a passive process. So this expiration is a passive process. There is nothing called as forceful things that are involved in it. Okay, it's a natural phenomena that the carbon dioxide is going to be expelled outside. But to breathe in, so you can stop breathing for a few seconds, can't you? Those who are singers, I don't know, but all would be singing. So those who are singers, for them, you have to hold your breath. You have to hold your breath. शंकर महादेवन का गाना सुना है क्या? ब्रीथलेस करके कुछ तो है ना उसका? सुना है?
हाँ मैम,
He
सुना
has sung it for a continuity of, like for a minute or so, है ना? 3 minutes,
Yes.
I guess, if I'm not wrong. So that means that particular person has held its inspired air for 3 minutes and he has not again started the second round of inspiration. You can stop for a few seconds, not for a very long time. Don't even try about it. Okay. But those who are into singing, it becomes a practice for them. We can hold our breath for a very long time. Those who are swimmers, right? Those who know swimming and those who are very good swimmers, they can remain under the water for a very long time without inspiration. So inspiration to some extent is going to be an active process. It's a forceful thing. While yoga, when we do yoga, we are going to forcefully take in the air na. So that's going to involve activity. So active is equal to energy. Passive, no energy requirement. No energy requirement. Okay. So see, it's a passive process. So during expiration, muscle fibers of the diaphragm relax. So the radial muscles, which were contracted now, are relaxing. So when they relax, what will happen? The flattened diaphragm will again become dome shape. See, look at this now. Look at this diagram. See, again it has become dome shape. See, diaphragm relaxed and it is arched upwards. So it's again going to become dome shape. है ना? Yes. So the diaphragm again becomes convex towards the thoracic cavity, right? It results in decrease in the vertical diameter of the thoracic cavity. Now look at the thoracic cavity, right? When it was over here, when it had flattened, I had shown the diagram earlier वाला ना, इतना space उसको ज़्यादा मिल रहा था, अब वो वापस normal position पे गया. So now that much of vertical section has reduced, that much of thoracic cavity has decreased, right? Due to relaxation of the external intercostal muscles now, the ribs and the sternum will return back to their normal position. They'll return back to their original position. And that also results in the decrease in the transverse diameters of the thoracic cavity. So vertical जो space थी वो diaphragm normal position पे आने के बाद वो कम हो गई. जो sideways जो broad हुआ था, जो transversely भी बड़ा था, तो अब क्या हो गया? The sternum and the ribcage are going to be in place. So from the transverse side, from the diameter point of view also, छोटा हो गया मतलब normal हो गया. Now what happens because of this? Due to this, there is a decrease in both diameter of the thoracic cage. वहाँ पर क्या था? There was an increase. यहाँ पर क्या हो गया? There is a decrease. The intrapleural pressure increases. अब क्या हो गया? Because of this contraction, the intrapleural space जो है उसमें क्या हो गया? Pressure increase हो गया. So the intrapleural pressure increases. Lungs are now compressed. Lungs compressed हो गए. Cavity छोटी हो गई है, तो अभी lungs को अंदर की तरफ आना पड़ रहा है. They are being pulled inward. So when they are being pulled inward, तो क्या हो रहा है? देखो, the lungs are getting compressed. Okay. So pressure within the lungs will now increase. बलून ले लो, है ना? बलून को आप ऐसे थोड़ा, ज्यादा नहीं तो फूट जाएगा, है ना? थोड़ा कंप्रेस करो तो क्या होता है? उसके अंदर का प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है. Similar ways, when you compress the lungs, the pressure inside will become more, है ना? The greater pressure within the lungs will force out or will forcefully throw out the foul air from the lungs to the outside of the body. So it is because of the increase in the pressure in the lungs that the forceful expiration takes place. Forceful throwing out of the CO2 takes place. So this is exactly the opposite mechanism of inspiration. So in your board exams, this is your board exam chapter. As I always say, again I'm repeating, this chapter till the last year was a part of your 11th standard syllabus. So when you saw last 5 years के question papers, आपको ये chapter के questions आपके board paper में नहीं मिलेंगे. But from this year means the batch which is going to appear for the 12th board this year. From this year, this chapter has been included in your 12th standard syllabus बच्चा. तो ये question अगर ये साल के पेपर में नहीं आता है तो मैं आपको रेड पेन में लिख के देती हूँ, ये क्वेश्चन आपके पेपर में जरूर आएगा. What is that? Differentiate between inspiration and expiration. It will be asked for 3 marks. You are supposed to write 6 points. Is it fine? So please be very careful with such type of answers, because within that 3 marks they are going to judge 2 important concepts, not 1. Write a short note on inspiration आया 3 marks के लिए, तो बस एक ही part judge होता है. लेकिन ये 3 marks में आपके दोनों जो phenomena है वो judge किए जाएंगे, आपको marks मिलेंगे. So be very careful with this. What happens in inspiration, what happens in expiration? This is differentiate between. I want all of you all to write down this particular answer in your notebook. Differentiate between inspiration and expiration. If this question is not going to be asked in 2021 board exams, It is for sure going to be asked in your exam. So be well prepared with this. Fine. So this is about the diagram again. Same way that we had seen, the diagram is, the diaphragm is going to get relaxed. It's going to move to its normal position. The ribs and sternum are returned back to the original position. There is going to be compression from all the four sides, and therefore the air will be expelled out from the lungs into the surroundings. Fine. So these two mechanisms make up the breathing overall working. Yeah. So what is your doubt? Why people say that when someone yawns, 1 minute, I'll just read this particular one. Parents say we are feeling sleepy. So what is the relation between? This is purely associated with the oxygen demand. Okay, it is purely associated with the oxygen demand. As the oxygen level falls down, you feel tired. In the early morning when you wake up, look at that particular time and your activity and your physical fitness, and by the time you're going to be night 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, the things are exactly opposite. So more the activity, more is the oxygen utilized and more is the oxygen demand. So to fulfill that, देखिए आपने अगर कुछ हेवी खाना खाया है, शादी का खाना खाया है कभी, शादी का खाना खाने के बाद आप इतने लेथार्जिक हो जाते हो, ऐसे लगता है कि हम आगे कुछ नहीं करें, घर जाके बस सो जाए. ऐसे क्यों होता है? इनफैक्ट आपने खाना खाया है, फूड शुड गिव यू एनर्जी, देन व्हाई डू यू फील लाइक दैट वे? That no, I don't want to do
Because energy
anything.
is
यार
utilized in
पानी
digestion.
पानी पीते का मन करता है और घर पे जाके सो जाने का मन करता है. It's basically because whatever oxygen is available in our body will be used in the oxidation of the food, and therefore your body will fall short of food oxygen, and you will always feel lazy, sleepy, so that your body will make up for the loss of oxygen that it. So it's always like that way. It's always like that way. It's associated with the oxidation of the food. So after this chapter, in fact, I'm going to start with the respiration chapter only. Of we are also in the respiration chapter. You will say, ma'am, आप यही तो कर रहे हो. I'm talking about an exchange right now. I have not started with the respiration part. So after this chapter gets completed, immediately the next thing that I'm going to start is the respiration part because it is interconnected. Okay, that time you will come to know about these facts much more. What is oxidation and all. Okay. Why people say that some yawning? Okay, fine. Then what is the next one that you are asking me? For singer, we have to do breathing exercise. Yes, to increase the duration. Yes, that's called as basically riyaz. रियाज करना बहुत जरूरी है बेटा. अगर आप सिंगर हो, सिंगर बनना चाहते हो, सिंगिंग की आपको हॉबी है, जो भी है, यू शुड डू अ लॉट ऑफ रियाज. जब तक आप रियाज नहीं करते हो तब तक आपकी जो आवाज है ना, that will also not get polished and you will not have the capacity to hold in for a very long time. Very right, very right. Yeah. Question: the patient lying in the coma can neither be. Arey, wait, Himanshu, wait. Huh. Patient lying in the coma can neither be called living nor non-living. Okay. He is only brain dead, but oxygen is supplied and he is breathing. Then why it is said that neither living or non-living? Because it is not able to complete all its metabolic functions. It is not able to complete all its metabolic functions and cannot react. हाँ, बोलो.
Why warning is contagious?
Someone said, ma'am. बोलो. Why? Why, bacha? Suresh, you're asking something?
Why yawning is contagious?
It is actually, like, yeah, I agree that yawning is a bit of contagious. It's a psychological or a psychomotor phenomena. Yeah, it's okay. That's fine. So that is, a psychomotor type of phenomena. I'll be talking about the yawning in this chapter only. It is considered, as a disorder. In fact, yawning is also considered as one of the disorders. हमें लगता है it's a natural phenomena. होने तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बहुत laziness आ जाता है तो yawning. And yes, because I'm yawning, someone is sitting just beside me. He or she looks at me. Even that person will feel like he also has to yawn. So it's going to be a psychomotor type of phenomena basically. Okay, so it appears to be, and it's in your hands. If you don't want to yawn, you will not yawn. अगर कभी बहुत ज्यादा ऐसा यॉर्निंग करने का मन करता है और आपने अगर ठान लिया ना, नहीं मैं यॉर्न नहीं करूंगी, you can try it out. Okay. What is okay, instead of table format, can we write in the passage form for board exam, because the points are big? No, my dear, you have to write in the table form only. So how you going to write it, like for example, the first point, it is a process by which foul air is expelled out from the lungs. And here what is the first point in this one? That it is a process by which fresh air is going to be entering, right? So how you will write down? Just in a single word, but you have to make 3 columns. The first column will be the characteristic, second column inspiration, third expiration. So in the characteristic point will be entry of air into the lungs. There you can say from the lungs to the surrounding. Likewise, okay. So like a mechanism. Here you will write down active mechanism. Here you will write down passive mechanism. Otherwise, you have to shorten the things and write it very clearly and precisely. But you have to write it in points. Otherwise, they will not give you marks. Board people, you all have given 10 board exams, so you know what is the condition. But still, like literally, I'll tell you some facts eventually when your board exams will be, like nearby. Right now, it is not the right time to talk on that area, but that time I'll tell you. Okay, so better that compare and contrast wala format.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah,
I have a
energy is
doubt.
used to digest food, respiration. What's the difference between this chapter and the other chapter? Yes. Here we are going to talk about the physical processes that are associated with the transport of the gases, and there we'll be talking about the fate of oxygen. In that chapter, we'll be talking about how exactly the oxygen is going to be incorporated in our body for what particular function. So the end product of oxygen क्या होता है is the biochemical process that we'll be talking about in that chapter. So here it is going to be the transport basically. It's going to be the transportation after reaching the destination. मतलब ये चैप्टर में है ना, हम लोग स्टेशन पे उतर जाएंगे, हम ट्रेन में हैं, हम ट्रेन में चल रहे हैं, हमारा स्टेशन आ जाएगा, हम स्टेशन पे उतर जाएंगे, लेकिन स्टेशन पे उतरने के बाद हम आगे क्या करेंगे, कैसे करेंगे, वो जो कहानी है वो चैप्टर की है. So here basically it is dealing with the transportation part till we reach the destination. After reaching the destination, what is the fate of that oxygen molecule is something that we have to understand in the next chapter. Okay?
That's
It's actually a continuous.
glycolysis and Krebs cycle and glycolysis, that all.
Then what is the next doubt? If the exchange of gas hasn't been performed in the time period between inspiration and expiration, does it ever happen that CO2 isn't being expelled out and O2 is only expired? No, that will not happen, because there is going to be always a pressure difference that will be created with, I'll tell you the pressure differences also, exactly how much is the pressure difference between the O2 and CO2. आगे आज वही देखना है. So O2 will not be expelled only. Okay, it will be expelled, but not only O2. Okay,
Ma'am,
why
but
even it will be
sometimes
thrown out?
it should. Does it ever happen that वो exchange हुआ ही नहीं end तक जाके, and मतलब in that time difference between the inspiration and the expiration, in the time when the lungs expand and contract, उसमें what if the exchange doesn't happen only and the same air is just expelled out? It doesn't happen.
Otherwise, if there is no exchange, if there is no exchange, then we say the person is dead. There always has to be an exchange. The equilibrium should never be matched. Okay, so it will not happen like that way. I'll show you why it will not. I'll prove it. I'll prove this. Your point is valid, and your point is also very good, my dear. I'll prove this. Why does not this happen? Okay, in the coming slides, I'm going to talk about that only. Okay, yeah. Is there some air left in our lungs even after expiration? Yes, my dear, there is. Otherwise, it will be completely squeezed. Okay, air is always going to be present. Only the thing is, more will be the pressure, inspiration, less will be the pressure, expiration. Air is always there. Your lungs cannot be devoid of air. Even after death, air is there in the lungs. Okay, it is not going to be completely without air. ऐसा कभी नहीं होता है. Not a single second will be like that way. Even not a fraction of a second when your lungs will not have air, ऐसा condition कभी नहीं आएगा. Okay. Because if we expel the air, entire air, the vacuum will be formed and then our lung. Exactly, Vacha. You're right, my dear. So never ever it will be happening that our lungs will not have air. ऐसा कभी नहीं होगा, कभी भी नहीं होगा. It will always be having some amount of air present in it. ठीक है? Okay. So let us now see what is forceful expiration. Okay. During forceful expiration, now this is something a very beautiful phenomena because we all are experiencing these things ना, इसीलिए. During forceful expiration, as during exercise, coughing, sneezing, है या नहीं? आप अगर साइकिलिंग कर रहे हो, बहुत हैवी साइकिलिंग करें आप, बहुत फास्ट करें, बहुत हैवी साइकिलिंग करें आप, है ना, और उसके बाद आपको है ना ब्रीथलेसनेस आ जाता है. देखिए, यू फोर्सफुल एक्सपायर, जोर जोर से आप एक्सपिरेशन करते हो. कफिंग, अबाउट ऑफ कफिंग, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन यू कफ. स्नीजिंग, पता नहीं होता है कि हमें छींक आने वाली है, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन फ्रॉम नोवेयर हमारा एकदम से झट से वो रिएक्शन हो जाता है. सो ड्यूरिंग स्ट्रेनस एक्सरसाइज, ड्यूरिंग कफिंग, ड्यूरिंग स्नीजिंग, एब्डोमिनल मसल्स, देखिए आपने एक्सपीरियंस करा होगा, ऑल ऑफ अ सडन अगर आप स्नीज करते हो ना तो आपके इधर एब्डोमिनल मसल्स जो है ना वो पुल होते हैं, वहां पर दर्द होता है. कभी किया एक्सपीरियंस आपने ये? अगर किसी को बहुत ज्यादा कफ है, किसी को बहुत ज्यादा खांसी आ रही है, तो व्हाट इज गोइंग टू पेन, यू नो, ये एब्डोमिनल रीजन यहाँ पर पेन होने लगता है ना. इट पेन्स वेरी बैडली. मतलब आई नो एवरी वन ऑफ यू ऑल हैव एक्सपीरियंस सम टाइम इन योर लाइफ, not now in this corona period. I don't want anyone of you all to have these type of things, baba, but kabhi na kabhi, है ना. हाँ, sneezing का नाम नहीं लो, क्यों? If I take the name, you will start sneezing or what? yeah. So sneezing also, coughing also will cause an एक झटका, एक jerk लग जाता है. कहाँ पर jerk लगता है बेटा? Abdominal region. Why in the abdominal going to be activated? They are going to come into action. Okay, so the abdominal muscles and IICM, internal intercostal muscles, come into action, which rapidly reduces the volume of the thoracic cavity. So abdominal muscles and internal intercostal muscles are only involved in expiration, contraction of the lungs, expiration. So they are called as expiratory muscles. So IICM is nowhere involved with inspiration. So abdominal muscles and internal intercostal muscles are associated with forceful expiration. Forceful expiration. है ना? So these are hidden points of this chapter. They are not mentioned and they ask you questions. So I have given in detail about it. Yes? Yes. Melatonin is also going to play a role in it. Right. Okay. Now this is the diagram of your internal intercostal muscles. The internal intercostal muscles can be very clearly seen. Innermost intercostal, internal intercostal, and external intercostal, as you can see over here. See, external one. This is the innermost and the internal. So this is how the innermost intercostal muscles are going to be, you know, pulled to make the cavity smaller or the volume. Fine. Clavicle is associated with your locomotion chapter. When I've got मेरा friend मेरे घर पे है, लेकिन मैं उसको फिलहाल आपके सामने नहीं लाना चाहती हूँ. जब मैं लोकोमोशन चैप्टर पढ़ाऊंगी ना तो मेरा फ्रेंड आपको दिखाई देगा. कौन है मेरा फ्रेंड पता है आपको? डू यू नो हु इज माय फ्रेंड जो आपको दिखाई देगा? इधर मेरे बाजू में बैठेगा, खड़ा रह जाएगा, हाँ, आपको हाई भी करेगा. वेरी राइट सोहम, यस. My best friend for teaching locomotion chapter is my, you know, it is nothing but it's a skeleton. So
you have a skeleton at home.
part के बारे में explain करूँगी. Yes, I've got the skeleton.
It is called as bone set, no?
हाँ, yeah. So it is dry. Right now I am not going to take him out. अभी बेचारा सोया है, आराम कर रहा है, करने दो. जब जरूरत
नाश्ता
पड़ेगी
पानी
तो
करना
आएंगे, है ना? Okay, where I'll bring it here means so by the time अगर अपने physical lectures start हो जाते हैं तो well and good, तो ये सारी चीजें आपके हाथ में होंगी, because last year also for my lectures मैं मेरे classes जहाँ जहाँ मैं पढ़ाती थी I used to take it over there and I used to leave it with my students कि भाई पहचान कर लो इसके साथ बहुत अच्छी तरह से, because many questions are going to be asked on the skeleton. So जैसे वो मेरा अच्छा फ्रेंड है, मेरा अच्छा दोस्त है, मेरी बहुत इच्छा है कि वो आपका भी बहुत अच्छा दोस्त बन जाए, so that आपका एक भी मार्क नहीं जाएगा, है ना? तो वो मैं छोड़ देती थी आपके हाथ में, पूरा लेक्चर मेरा होने के बाद for 2 days वो आपके हाथ में रहता था, then when I used to come for the second class मैं उसको पैकअप करके लेके जाती थी. तो if physical lectures हमारे तब तक स्टार्ट हो जाते हैं तो बिल्कुल आपको भी उसके साथ दोस्ती करने का मौका मिलेगा, है ना? अरे नहीं रे बाबा, मैं उसको पैक करके लाती हूँ, डोंट वरी, ट्रेन वालों को नहीं डराऊंगी, आई वोंट स्केयर देम. हाँ, बट मेरे क्लास में जो क्लीनिंग के लिए मेरे बोरिवली में जहाँ पर मेरे क्लासेस इधर भी है, अपनी एक ब्रांच है बोरिवली में भी, इधर जो है उधर मैं लटका के रखती हूँ उसको, जनरली उधर स्पेस है मुझे लटकाने के लिए. उधर जो मेरे क्लीन करने के लिए वो जो आंटी आती थी, एवरी डे शी यूज्ड टू बी वेरी स्केयर्ड अबाउट दैट, मैडम इसको हटाओ, इसको हटाओ, पहले इसको हटाओ, इसके सामने मैं झाड़ू नहीं लगा सकती, was what she used to always say. So don't worry, when I carried in my car, तो जनरली कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आती है. किसी को डराने का मेरा कोई भी इंटेंशन नहीं होता है बाहर वाले लोगों, एंड तुम लोग तो मेरे हो, तुम लोग कैसे डरोगे, है ना? हाँ, वो उसका चलता रहता है, उसको बहुत अच्छी तरह से मैं संभाल के रखी हूँ, डोंट वरी. Okay, so of course, so what is the clavicle, and even you can see the ribs, you can see the vertebral column, you can see the pelvic girdle, you will be talking about the humerus, femur, ulna, radii, carpal, metacarpal, tarsal, metatarsal, skull bones, everything. Okay, so I'll be talking about everything in detail when I talk about the chapter of locomotion. Locomotion chapter is of your 11th standard syllabus, of course, so I'll talk about it that time. Okay, चलिए. Now we talk about the regulation. अब ये as you were like asking me that क्या होता है अगर एयर पहले आती है, प्रेशर कैसे बढ़ता है, या फिर हमारे रेडियल मसल्स पहले पुल होते हैं, what exactly is happening and how it is happening. So we have to understand these things very clearly with something called as regulation of breathing. How this breathing is regulated. What is the the one who is actually controlling these activities is something that we have to understand now. Okay. Yeah. Clavicle is the collarbone. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Scapula and clavicle. Anyway, so first is breathing is an involuntary process, and it is controlled by something called as medulla oblongata, but it can be made voluntary for a short while. That's what I say. You can stop breathing for a very short time. Breathing in the sense, you will not inspire, you will not expire, you will remain in a neutral position, right? But for a short time, for a very short time, right? But normal case mein it is involuntary. It is controlled by the medulla oblongata. During this period, it is controlled. During this period means when you are voluntarily stopping the breathing. At that time, during this period, it is controlled by cerebrum. Those involuntary processes which can be made voluntary are called as reflex action. Very important point. Very important point. Okay. So ये जो reflex action होती है, reflex action का मतलब है normal case में it is involuntary, but we can make it voluntary for a very limited time period. Then these type of actions are called as reflex actions. So breathing is regulated by two controls. First, the nervous control, and second is the chemical control. Chemical control is going to be the hormonal control very specifically. So two controls are going to be operated in our body, or rather they are operative in our body. One process is the neural control, which is by the medulla oblongata in normal case. And when we forcefully stop the breathing, when we make it voluntary process, that time the cerebrum will come into action to control the breathing process. Okay. And second will be a chemical control, that is basically a hormonal control that I'll be talking about in detail. So two things we have to understand about the regulation. First, how the neural control or the nervous control is acting, and second, how the chemical control is going to be playing a very important role in it. Okay? So let us go ahead first with the nervous control. Yes, this is the nervous control. I think I had shown you all the brain ka model. Just 1 minute, I'll show you again. I can bring it one, give me a minute. I hadn't shown you. Okay, just give me a second. I'll just get it.
Ma'am, you showed heart.
Yeah. Some of you would be there. I'll get it. आपके फ्रेंड को भी बुलाना मेरा फ्रेंड बॉक्स में सोया है उसको मुझे वो डिमेंटल्ड फॉर्म में उसको मुझे अरेंज करना पड़ेगा तो हो सके तो नेक्स्ट क्लास में बुलाती हूँ है ना अगर मुझे याद रहा ना तो उसको नेक्स्ट क्लास में मैं लेके आऊंगी ठीक है ये है मेरे पास देखिए दिस इज देयर विद ये छोटू है ना ये फटाफट आ जाता है so this is about the brain that I was talking so देखिए the same diagram they have given over here so this brain you can see this is the cerebrum you can very well see ये जो पूरा ये जो है this is the cerebrum okay ये जो छोटे यहाँ पर आपको दिखाई दे रहे हैं this one right this cerebellum and you can see this white stalks ये जो white stalks है ना that is going to be the medulla basically which will extend further to form the spinal cord eventually yeah pons you're right yes. Now when I open this two hemispheres right these are the two hemispheres when I open this that time you can very well see over here this zone जो जाली का बनाया आपको दिखाई दे रहा है बेटा can you all see the net blue color का net that is made in this zone look at this is the zone right है ना yes so this is the zone I'm talking about right now you can see the typical blue color की जाली है ना so this is the area which is going to play a very important role in our breathing so ये अगर आप देखोगे तो बाहर से ये ऐसे दिखता है ना ये ऐसे दिखता है ये अंदर का व्यू है इंटरनली ये जाली के ऊपर आपको फोकस करना है ठीक है so see the respiratory rhythm is controlled by the nervous system the rate of respiration can be enhanced as per the demand of the body during strenuous physical exercises we can pump in more of air a number of group of neurons are located bilaterally in the medulla oblongata so now this is going to be your medulla oblongata internal structure bilaterally means ये साइड में भी है वैसे ही ये साइड में भी है दोनों साइड में है okay it's bilaterally going to be present located bilaterally in the medulla oblongata which controls the respiration these are called as respiratory centers so we are talking about this respiratory center now तो ये जो जोन है ना ये जो मैंने आपको ब्लू कलर का नेटवर्क है करके बताया था that is going to be the respiratory center that we're going to talk about okay 3 groups of respiratory centers have been identified very important point कहाँ है ये 3 respiratory centers कहाँ है बेटा ये तीनों respiratory centers होते हैं हमारे medulla oblongata में so here you can see this is going to be what is the difference between pons and medulla do you know does anyone know what is the difference between pons and what is the difference between medulla
Miss Pons is the area which connects the two hemispheres of the cerebellum, and medulla is the organ which.
medulla nahi okay fine I'll tell you what is pons and what is medulla fine ये देखिए ये जो एरिया है ये ऊपर का ये जो एरिया है जहाँ मेरा फिंगर है अभी and I'll place a pencil over there see this portion You can see this portion. This portion is going to be the pons ka portion. Where my pencil is present right now, this portion, upar wala. This is the pons ka area, right? And medulla is going to be lying just over here, uske niche wala. This one is going to be the medulla. So the pons and the medulla. Got it? Both lie in that jali only. Why, you know? Because both are responsible for holding the respiratory centers. So this entire jali जो आपको दिखाई दे रही है, this is actually the respiratory center, which is combination of some part of the pons and some part of the medulla as well. Okay? You all are answering. I can't hear. Oh my God. Let me check. You all are answering. अब आंसर करो. अब देखो. अब कोई तो कुछ तो बोलो.
Hello.
Ah, see,
Hello.
Manan, I can hear you now. I could hear Manan, I could hear Shreyas now.
Now, ma'am, but before that,
I know,
somebody
yeah.
answered.
Sometimes, I know, Komal, I know. I'm just fooling here. Maybe होता है कभी-कभी थोड़ा connectivity lose हो जाती है ना तो हो जाता है. I'm not saying
Because someone said what is the difference between medulla oblongata and
Okay.
pons.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, ma'am,
Anyway,
I had answered.
okay, fine. Sure. Anyway, so now you understood this, right? Now what we are bothered about? What are we concerned about? We are concerned about this medulla ka part and the pons ka part where there is going to be the presence of something called as the reaction centers. Okay, so how are these reaction centers associated with our respiration, which are also called as respiratory centers? Okay, how are they associated is something that we have to understand. When I teach you control and coordination, ये orange, white, yellow, ये वाला, ये देखिए, ये पूरा मैंने naming, labeling करके रखा है which center किसके लिए काम में आता है. So everything will be taught to you all when actually I talk about this chapter. That is the neural tract chapter, of course. Let me close this person. Yes. रख देते हैं बाजू में. बैठ जा आराम से भाई. So now we are here with the same. So now you understood the diagram. I mean the model, so it will become very easy for you to understand this diagram now. Look at this diagram. See, this is the pons, and उसके नीचे ही बिल्कुल उसका ही next half जो part है, that is going to be the medulla. Okay. When we enlarge this particular pons and medulla, see here you can see something called as the pneumotaxic center. Can you see this? Second is the apneustic center. ये देखिए इसमें दो है. Then you can see the dorsal respiratory group, which is called as the DRG. And here you can see the ventral respiratory group, which is called as the VRG. And ये medulla का extension ही है, मतलब this is the medulla का extension. हाँ.
Ma'am, we cannot hear you.
You cannot see.
We couldn't hear. Now we can.
Others can hear. See, others are giving me. We can hear you. Check with your connection, beta.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Check with your connections. Okay. So see, three groups of respiratory centers will be present. First will be the dorsal respiratory group, abbreviated as what? DRG. Okay. Second is the ventral respiratory group, abbreviated as VRG. And third is the pneumotaxic center. So this pneumotaxic center, the DRG and the VRG, इनका location बहुत अच्छी तरह से समझ लेना बेटा. नहीं तो आगे का मेरा slide जो मैं बता रही हूँ ना, it will be difficult for you all to understand. Understood what is VRG and TRG and pneumotaxic center and how are they located? Forget about the plus and minus things. I'll explain about the plus minus. क्या है? I'll explain about it. Fine. Now see. Now the DRG is present in the dorsal portion of the medulla oblongata. Look at this. The DRG is present in the dorsal portion of the medulla oblongata. है ना? Dorsal means ये देखिए, ये जो है अपना ये dorsal region है ना? Back side, yes. और ये जो है ये ventral region है. तो ये कहाँ पर present है? DRG is present on the dorsal region. It is present on the back side. पीछे के side पे dorsal region. Correct? The signals now. This is very important because this is how the mechanism is going to actually function. Control कैसे होता है वो देखना है ना इसीलिए. The signal from the DRG generate the basic respiratory rhythm. Basic respiratory rhythm क्या होता है? What do you mean by that? A basic respiratory rhythm. See, the nervous signal released from the DRG, it transmitted to the diaphragm. Medulla oblongata कहाँ? Diaphragm कहाँ? है ना? Just imagine this. So the signals will be carried from this DRG region to reach effector organ. क्या है यहाँ पर? Who is the organ which is actually going to get affected? It's going to be the diaphragm. Okay, so see here the signals will be released from this group. This group means the DRGs will be transmitted to the diaphragm, which is the primary inspiratory muscle, as well as the EICM. We saw na EICM and diaphragm was the two which were bringing about the entire mechanism, right? So immediately those EICM and the diaphragm will get contracted, causing an increase in your longitudinal area also and in your transverse area also, right? So the very important point, how the nervous system is controlling this, is going to be with the help of the DRG group of neurons, dorsal respiratory group of neurons. Okay. Now look at the VRG. The VRG group, or the ventral respiratory group of neurons, are also located anterolateral to the dorsal respiratory group. Anterolateral. Antero means somewhat on the anterior side and lateral means on the sideways. Okay. During normal respiration, this remains inactive. Very important. VRG जो है नॉर्मल इंस्पिरेशन के टाइम पे कुछ काम नहीं करते, सोए रहते हैं. उनका गुड मॉर्निंग नहीं होता है. किसका गुड मॉर्निंग हमेशा रहता है? उसका गुड नाइट हो गया तो मर गए, है ना? तो किसका गुड मॉर्निंग हमेशा होता है बेटा? हाँ, DRG का. वेरी करेक्ट, राइट? यस. तो ये जो DRG है, ये DRG इज कंटिन्यूसली 24/7 वो फंक्शनल है. पर ये जो VRG है नॉर्मल केस में गुड नाइट में है वो, राइट? व्हेन उनका गुड मॉर्निंग कब होगा देखिए. एंड दे इवन डू नॉट प्ले एनी रोल इन द इंस्पिरेशन और एक्सपिरेशन एक्चुअली. सी, इन द एनहांस्ड रेस्पिरेटरी ड्राइव, the respiratory signal of this group contributes to fulfill the demand by regulating both inspiration and expiration. Enhanced respiratory drive means when we are falling short of breath, when we are gasping, है ना, धाप लगती है ना हमें, तो वो टाइम पे enhanced respiratory drive है वो. तो फोर्सफुल अंदर एयर को आना भी होता है और फोर्सफुल अंदर से एयर को बाहर छोड़ना भी होता है. तो बोथ आर फाइटिंग. आई वांट टू कम इन, आई वांट टू गो आउट. देखिए हमारे लोकल ट्रेन में जो चीजें होती है ना, सम पीपल दे वांट टू गेट डाउन एट अंधेरी, सम पीपल दे वांट टू गेट इन एट अंधेरी. वो जो कंडीशन है ना, बाहर भी जाना है अंदर भी जाना है, ऐसे वाले जो ग्रुप्स है इनमें जैसा टग ऑफ वॉर होता है ना, something like that way is happening in our body. So to control both of them, wait, let him come in, wait, let him go out. ये जो control maintain करना है, to strike a balance, we call this as what? To strike a balance. When such a type of situation will be experienced by our body, at that particular time, the VRGs get operational. So see, it is going to only get operational when in the enhanced respiratory drive, the respiratory signal of this group contributes to fulfill the demand by regulating inspiration as well as expiration. दोनों को बैलेंस करने के लिए वो काम में आता है. Yeah, only in case of emergency. Yes, very right. Okay. Few of the neurons of this group control inspiration, while few other control expiration. Thus, they regulate both. Fine. So this is for the VRGs. So the VRGs are not always active. They are not always active. Any confusion with DRG and VRG till now? Whatever we have done, बेटा एक बार देख लो फटाफट. कुछ है डाउट तो बोलो मुझे. Tell me if there is something that you have not followed.
Miss, I didn't understand anterolateral.
Anterior lateral, anterior means on the outside part and lateral means on the sideways. Okay, so जैसे कि ये अगर मैं दिखाऊं तो दिस इज द पार्ट, ये साइड में है, ये जो है ये साइड में है, किसके साइड में है, किसके साइड में है, डीआरजे के साइड में है, एंड तो इसलिए लैटरल है, एंड एंटीरियर मतलब थोड़ा सा बाहर की तरफ, बैक साइड नहीं है, बाहर की तरफ, ऐसा है, ऐसा है, दिस इज एंटीरियर लैटरल, दिस इज डीआरजी जो बैक साइड में है, दिस इज वीआरजी जो एंटीरियर पार्ट में है और इसके बाजू में है, उसके आगे भी नहीं है ना, उसके आगे सामने नहीं है, इट्स नॉट इन द फ्रंट, it is not lateral, it's not dorsal, it is anterior and it is on the side of this. Okay, so that is anterior lateral. Got it?
Yeah, ma'am,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. What's your doubt, beta? Neurons helping in the control of inspiration and control of expiration are different. Yeah, in VRG. Okay, yes, you're right. Well, then we go to the next one. That is something associated with the neural only. That is the third center that we were talking about. So we saw three centers. One was the pneumotaxic center, one was the DRG, one was the VRG. We understood what is DRG, we understood what is VRG. Now let us understand what is the role of the pneumotaxic center, which is again very crucial, very, very important. Fine? Take it. The pneumotaxic center is located dorsally in the upper pons. So I told you where is the pons. I showed you. This is going to be the pons. है ना? So it is going to be present where? Dorsally, back side. तो अगर मैं इन दोनों को कंबाइन करती हूँ ना, तो आप इमेजिन कर सकते हो बैक साइड है, मतलब इधर से पीछे के साइड पे, यहाँ से पीछे के साइड पे, बैक साइड, अंदर की तरफ. ओके, इन द अपर पॉन्स, ये अपर पॉन्स वाला जोन है, दिस इज द अपर पॉन्स का जोन. फाइन. व्हाट इज द फंक्शन ऑफ इट? इट ट्रांसमिट्स सिग्नल्स to the inspiratory area. देखिए, everything is basically associated with the inspiration. So the pneumotaxic center is going to send the signal to the inspiratory area. DRG was sending it to the diaphragm and EICM. Pneumotaxic center is going to give the signal to the inspiratory area. देखिए, primarily it controls the switch off point of inspiration. Very important. अगर इंस्पिरेशन का स्विच ऑफ नहीं हुआ तो एक्सपिरेशन का स्विच ऑन कैसे होगा, है या नहीं? कहीं ना कहीं डाउन द लाइन इंस्पिरेशन शुड स्टॉप फॉर एक्सपिरेशन. Unless and until we don't stop taking in the air, it will be not possible for us to give out the air, है ना? So to switch off the inspiration mode and start with the expiration mode is the predominant function of pneumotaxic center. So you just can't go on breathing in, you have to breathe out as well, है ना? So when the signal is strong, now this is something to be understood, huh? When the signal is strong, that is when the signals are going to be of very high frequency, the inspiration will last for a very shorter period of time. The duration of inspiration will be very, very short and the lungs will be filled partially. है कि नहीं? उसका क्या काम है? स्विच ऑफ करना. किसको स्विच ऑफ करना? इंस्पिरेशन को स्विच ऑफ करना मोमेंटरीली, टिल हम एक्सपायर नहीं करते हैं. ठीक है, till we don't expire, till that time inspiration should be switched off. But more would be the activity of the signals, more strong would be the signals, we will be breathing less, fast breathing and less breathing. That will cause what? That will cause partial filling of our lungs. ठीक है? During weak pneumotaxic signal, exactly opposite, inspiration will be for a longer time, for a longer duration, resulting in complete filling up of the lungs. ठीक है? Now, the strong signal, yeah, let me complete beta, 1 minute. The strong signal, that is the high frequency, causes increase in the rate of breathing. तो फास्ट ब्रीदिंग करते हैं हम लोग. अगर न्यूमोटैक्सिक सेंटर के सिग्नल बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग है तो हमारा शॉर्ट ब्रेथ्स होते हैं और फास्ट ब्रीदिंग होता है. शॉर्ट ब्रीदिंग एंड फास्ट ब्रीदिंग, because the duration of inspiration as well as the expiration is shortened. बराबर, right? the concentration of CO2 and the protons, that is the H plus, causes increased strength of inspiratory as well as expiratory signal. So who causes this strongness? Who causes this in pneumotaxic center to actually get activated? It is the concentration of CO2. Okay, so the concentration of CO2 and H plus causes increased strength of inspiratory as well as expiratory signals. However, oxygen has no such direct effect. So ये जो न्यूमोटैक्सिक सेंटर है ना बेटा, ये कब एक्टिवेट होता है? जब हाइड्रोजन आयंस IONS, ओके, एंड CO2 कॉन्सेंट्रेशन, ये दो जब हमारे बॉडी में बहुत ज्यादा हो जाते हैं तो ये वाला फीलिंग आ जाता है, न्यूमोटैक्सिक सेंटर के एक्टिवेशन को वो रिलीज कर देता है. Got it? Now this is a phenomena which is very well to be understood. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट फेनोमेना है न्यूमोटैक्सिक सेंटर का. बहुत सारे बच्चों को लगता है इट इज डायरेक्टली एसोसिएटेड विद इंस्पिरेशन. नो, only when it gets activated the signals given out will be very strong. When will it get activated? Because of the high concentrations of CO2 and H plus, that is acidity बढ़ती है. तो to be very specific, H plus is what? Acidity, है ना? At that particular time when there will be a lot of H plus concentration, this particular thing will be experienced by us. Okay? Yeah. So let me take your doubts. And there is a trigonometry lecture just after my class at 12 o'clock. Oh. So those signals should not be in excess, means this center will be highly active after running. Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Very correct. Okay. Yeah.
Is it harmful?
Harmful? No. It is not harmful. Nothing is harmful. It's controlling, balancing. It is preventing from harmful effects. It's preventing from harmful effects. Okay.
Too short breathing and fast breathing can cause any problems to our...
No problems. It is temporarily activated. For normal time, like, majority of our life goes in normal breathing. If we run, if we jog, if we, have some difficulty in breathing, yes, then this gets activated. Okay. Is it always active for switching off the inspiration and becomes highly active while running? Yeah, generally. Yes. It is basically involved in switching off of inspiration. Okay. Fine. So now this is a phenomenon which is not mentioned in your books, and this is a very important phenomena actually to be understood. Forget about your marks, forget about your exams and all. उधर तो ये काम में आएगा ही, लेकिन स्पेसिफिकली ये मैकेनिज्म अंडरस्टैंड करना बहुत जरूरी है बेटा, बहुत जरूरी है. एज अ फेनोमेना जो हमारे बॉडी में हो रहा है, इट इज एक्चुअली टेकिंग प्लेस इन आवर बॉडी. सो वी हैव टू नो व्हाट इज एक्चुअली Hering-Breuer's reflexa. This is very important part. Okay, so please pay attention. Hering and Breuer inflation reflex. It is named by Joseph Breuer and Ewald Hering. These were the two scientists who found out this phenomena. Is a reflex triggered to prevent overinflation of the lungs. What do you mean by inflation? Inflate होना मतलब क्या?
Filling of air.
हाँ, है ना? हम बलून को इन्फ्लेट करते हैं, टायर को इन्फ्लेट करते हैं, वैसे ही लंग्स का इन्फ्लेशन, ओवर इन्फ्लेशन ना हो, इसीलिए ये फेनोमेना एक्टिव है हमारे बॉडी में. सी व्हाट हैपेंस इन द वॉल्स of the terminal bronchioles. You know where are the bronchioles? You know where are the terminal bronchioles associated with, है ना? So in the walls of the terminal bronchioles and atria, stretch receptors are present which are normally inactive. ये जो stretch receptors है, receptors का मतलब क्या होता है? The one which will take up a signal. Okay, the one which will take up a signal are called as receptors. These are the stretch receptors. Stretch receptors means अगर ओवर स्ट्रेचिंग होता है ना लंग्स का, तो ये रिसेप्टर्स वो सिग्नल ले लेते हैं. ओके, सो दिस आर द स्ट्रेच रिसेप्टर्स. वेयर आर दे प्रेजेंट? दे आर प्रेजेंट इन द वॉल्स ऑफ द टर्मिनल ब्रोंक्यूल्स एंड द एट्रिया. ओके, बट they become active when the lungs are excessively inflated due to failure of switch off of the inspiration. If something goes wrong with the pneumotaxic center, If something goes wrong with the pneumotactic center, what will happen? We'll keep on inspiring. And if we keep on inspiring, imagine there would be so much of stress that would be exerted on the walls of the bronchioles. में लंग्स के अंदर अगर बहुत ज्यादा हवा भर गई तो जैसे बलून में होता है, जैसे बलून में होता है, एक्सेस हवा भरने पर क्या हो जाता है? It will burst out. So we don't want to experience that type of a thing in our life. Imagine the lungs being bursting out. It has never happened, and it will never happen also. Why it will never happen? Because of this Hering-Breuning reflex R. So if the pneumotactic center fails to switch off the inspiration, then this Hering-Breuer reflex arc will get activated by the receptors present. So understand, the Hering-Breuer reflex arc now becomes activated. It sends an inhibitory signal to the inspiratory center to switch off the inspiration. It's overdone. Stop it. बंद कर दो, button off कर दो, है ना? Thus, Hering-Breuning, this prevents the alveoli from overstretching and bursting. Therefore, कभी भी alveoli burst out नहीं होते हैं. वो burst out कभी नहीं होते हैं बेटा, because of this particular mechanism. ठीक है? तो जैसे हमारे प्रेशर कुकर में वाल्व होता है, आपने देखा है कि नहीं, आई डोंट नो. एक सीटी होती है और सीटी के बाजू में थोड़ा सा साइड में एक ना सेफ्टी वाल्व होता है. So what happens generally when the pressure will be developed inside the pressure cooker, the whistle should blow. It blows also. कभी कभी क्या होता है ना, दाल है, चावल है, जो भी आपने उस प्रेशर कुकर में डाला है, कभी कभी क्या होता है, that particular चावल का पार्टिकल या दाल का पार्टिकल ना, it goes and it blocks the whistle का port. It blocks the whistle का port. अब it is not possible for the whistle to blow because it has got clogged, it has got blocked. In that case, there is a chance of the pressure cooker being bursting out due to tremendous pressure inside. But normally what will happen in such a case, when the whistle fails to blow off, releasing the pressure, वो नहीं कर पाता है, in that case क्या होता है, ये जो valve है ना उसके बाजू में, ये जो safety valve है ना, वो टूट जाता है, वो burst out होता है, उससे कुछ नुकसान नहीं होता है, it can be replaced, but at least the pressure is released from the safety valve, है ना? That will prevent the bursting of your pressure cooker. In the same way, here also, this is a safety valve which is present, which are called as the receptors. They immediately get activated when the pneumotactic center has failed to become operational, and then they will send a signal to the inspiratory center, switch it off. It's in excess, switch it off. You don't need to come into action immediately now. So this was first found out by Hering and Breuer, and therefore the name is Hering-Breuer's reflex arc. Okay. Thus, Hering-Breuer's reflex arc is a protective reflex and works only when normal mechanism of switch off of the inspiration does not work timely due to any particular reason. The reasons are numerous, but any particular reason, immediately this will be activated. Okay. So as I said, this part is not given in your books. You check any books of your HSC or your this one also, NCRT also. Nothing has been mentioned about it, but this is a very crucial phenomena that is actually taking place in us. Okay, so a balance is strike between your inspiration and expiration. There are these controls by your nervous system. Is it fine?
Ma'am, whenever this reflex arc takes control of the switching off of inspiration, do we feel it?
No, we don't feel anything. It's a normal thing that is happening in us. Okay.
So the failure does not cause any harm. It starts working normally after
no,
some
it
time.
will not cause any harm. For us, we are breathing. Okay, for us, we are breathing. Okay, who activates the center in the first place? That is what I said, na? That is what I said, na? Generally, it is going to be the concentration gradient of your gases in our system. Those are the ones who will activate the things immediately. Okay, so it is always active for switching off the inspiration and becomes highly active while running. Very correct. Means the signals are always coming, but the receptors will respond to it only if pneumotactic center fails. Yes, my dear. Yes, yes. Okay. But
Ma'am?
who controls the reflex? The reflex will be controlled. नहीं बच्चा. What happens when we take in a lot of, when we inspire a lot of air, na, that time there will be a pressure that will be filled up in our lungs, right? In our alveoli also. Now there are going to be this. Suppose this is the wall. Okay, this is the wall. You can see my hand. I have kept my hand on the wall, right? Now if someone tries to push me, against the wall, my hand against the wall, what will happen? I cannot further move it. There is a complete, like this wall is preventing me from making my hand move away, and then it will start paining. Why will it start paining? If an extra pressure is going to be exerted, why will it start paining? Because there are receptors present that will take up the signal that something is being crushed on them. In the same way, here also, these are the receptors. So the first line itself is saying, see, that there are stretch receptors present. So if the stretching happens beyond a particular threshold, then the receptors will get compressed. And these receptors are the ones who will send the signal to the inspiration center that there is a lot of inspiration that is taking place, a lot of air pressure has been exerted on me. That means the pneumotaxic center is not functioning. Please switch it off, because otherwise there will be a blast. These are the receptors which are going to send the signal. Okay, right?
Ma'am, are these the same
Controls the
stretch?
receptors? One minute, beta. Who controls the receptors? There is no one to control the receptors. As and when they get compressed, they will get activated. Okay? As and when उनको कोई push करेगा तो वो एक्टिव. देखिए, आप अगर रास्ते से चल रहे हो, आपको किसी ने बेवजह धक्का दे दिया, तो आप एक्टिवेट हो जाओगे कि नहीं? वैसे होता है ये रिसेप्टर्स अपने जगह पर बैठे हैं, उनको बेवजह अगर कोई कंप्रेस करता है तो वो एक्टिवेट हो जाते हैं. Okay, something like that, right? Yeah. Then how much time will this be active? Till the time the things are restored. That means receptor के ऊपर का pressure जैसे release हो जाता है, खत्म. The receptors are again in normal position, right? Okay. The receptors will tell whom? Receptors will send a signal via the nerve. It's a nerve impulse. Nerves होते हैं. Receptors will always be resting on nerves. उनके नीचे nerves होते हैं. And via the nerves, the signal will be carried to the inspiratory centers. Okay, and then it will become functional. It will become operative. So again, as I said, there are 3 types of nerves. One will be the cranial nerves, spinal nerves जो हमने देखे हैं, और एक जो होते हैं ना based on functions उसको हम कहते हैं. तो एक होते हैं जो afferent होते हैं, और दूसरे होते हैं जो efferent होते हैं, और तीसरे होते हैं जो mixed होते हैं. इनकी डिटेल्स हम न्यूरल के चैप्टर में करने ही वाले हैं. Okay, so in this way the signals are given and the signals are received back also. Right? Okay. Does the restoration need doctor's attention? Not at all. Not at all. Okay. Yeah, it's the time second, or it may take a minute or two. Yes, bacha, you're right, Sonali. Very correct. Okay. Are these the same stretch receptors present in the stomach? No. Every area has got their own stretch receptors. Okay. Every area has got their own stretch receptors. Anything which is going to be compressed on them immediately. वो pain होता है ना, pain होता है. देखिए हमें pain होता है मतलब क्या होता है? What happens exactly? The receptors in that area are compressed. They send a signal. दर्द हो रहा है मुझे भाई, मेरे ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर आ रहा है, कुछ तो करो. Okay, so that is what is everyone will. Even we have got mechanoreceptors. हमारा skin, अरे मैंने मतलब this is a normal thing. बच्चों के इसमें देखती हूँ तो अलग बात है. बड़ों में भी if I just tell them कि I'm sorry but I'll have to वैक्सीनेशन देना पड़ेगा, इंजेक्शन देना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो आप ठीक नहीं हो जाओगे. वो इंजेक्शन का नाम लेते ही पता नहीं ये कुछ लोग ऐसे होते हैं, नहीं वो नहीं चाहिए, उतना छोड़ के कुछ भी करो, जितना दोगे उतना टैबलेट खाएंगे. अरे क्या होने वाला है? छोटा सा प्रिक है, नीडल का प्रिक बहुत छोटा है, बट वो उतना प्रिक जो है ना वो भी नहीं लेने के जैसा मतलब सिचुएशन दिखाई देती है. नो प्रिक्स. व्हाई? रिसेप्टर्स हर एक जगह पर. रिसेप्टर्स इन योर टंग ऑल्सो. कभी गरम बहुत गरम कुछ खाया है, देखिए कैसे हालत हो जाती है.
हाँ मिस.
हाँ, so everywhere there are receptors, beta. Everywhere they will be there to control the situation. Okay, understood? Yes.
Yeah,
So This is about the receptors present in the stretch receptors which are present in the terminal bronchioles and the atrial part. Okay, so that is about the control, about the neural control that we had talked about. Fine. Now we'll move on to the chemical control. तो हमने देखे थे कि दो कंट्रोल्स होते हैं, एक होता है न्यूरल कंट्रोल फॉर आवर रेस्पिरेटरी mechanism, and the second control is the neural control. So let us quickly understand what is the neural control. Okay. Chemical control. Sorry, we understood the neural control. Let us talk about the chemical control. Chemical control, that is the effect of CO2. Now just now we saw CO2 concentration and H plus concentration. अभी हमने देखा था ना बेटा pneumotaxic center case में. Let us understand from that point of view now. So see, again the word comes as what? Chemoreceptors. So it is again the receptors which are triggered by the presence or absence of chemicals. So effect of CO2 देखिए, chemoreceptors are found in the carotid bodies, that is nothing but they are the ones which are located in the walls of the carotid arteries, and the aortic bodies, that is located in the wall of the aorta. So carotid bodies and aortic bodies में ये chemoreceptors present होते हैं. These chemoreceptors are stimulated by an increase in the carbon dioxide concentration and by an increase in the hydrogen ion concentration, that is H plus ions, जिसको हम pH बोलते हैं, in the arterial blood. देखिए, now we are slowly moving on to the blood region. तो ये जो carotid bodies है और ये जो aortic bodies है, they are associated with whom? Can you all tell me? These two are, where are they placed? Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Where is this aortic and the carotid bodies going to be present? Can anyone tell me?
Near the heart.
Yes, it's associated with the heart. It's associated with the heart. Very correct. Very correct. Okay. So now see what happens. The carotid bodies also have got the chemoreceptors, and the aortic bodies also have got the chemoreceptors. Now these chemoreceptors will get activated when there is more of CO2 and the pH drops down. That means it causes acidosis. Acidosis, high acidity. Okay. So see, increase of CO2 and lowering of the pH results in acidity. Acidosis कहते हैं हम उसको. तो ब्लड में बहुत ज्यादा एसिडिटी हो जाती है, बहुत ज्यादा एसिडिटी हो जाती है. इसमें क्या होता है देखिए, these chemoreceptors will then send signals to the inspiratory and the expiratory centers, thus the rate of breathing is increased. Now you know why you get hiccups. हिचकी लगती है, हिचकी, hiccups. क्यों? समझ में आ गई बात? Now you got it. देखिए, increased CO2 concentration and lowering of the pH has resulted in acidosis. And acidosis जैसी blood में बहुत ज़्यादा अगर acidic conditions हो जाती है, then the rate of breathing will increase. आप hiccup लेते हो, हिचकी आती है, क्या होता है? एक for a fraction of a second आप करके आप breathing बहुत strong लेते हो. देखा है आपने कभी? Have you all ever thought from that point of view? A boutful of air will enter inside at a time. है ना? देखिए, activity and function of the respiratory center also gets affected by the body temperature and blood pressure, and that is the reason जब हमें बुखार आता है, हमारा टेम्परेचर जब बढ़ जाता है, तब हमें हमारी एनर्जी बहुत लॉस हुई है, we feel very tired, है ना? Because whatever we are breathing in, whatever oxygen is taken in is going to be utilized for maintaining these conditions. And that time we'll breathe in more. Okay, so it is going to be altered by your temperature variations. In case of increased BP and increased body temperature, breathing rate also increases. BP अगर बढ़ता है, देखा आपने किसी का BP बढ़ते हुए? मतलब गुस्सा आने पर भी BP बढ़ता ही है, पसीना पसीना आ जाता है कि नहीं? If you are going to get angry, more you get angry, more will be the sweating and more will be your breathing rate. देखिए, आपका palpitation बढ़ने लगता है. You start palpitating. कहते हैं ना, ज्यादा मत चिल्ला, ज्यादा मत गुस्सा हो जा, हार्ट अटैक आ जाएगा. ये बोलने की चीज है, but ये सच भी है. Because at that particular time you're breathing very heavily. Palpitations, you can feel the palpitations when you're actually very, very angry on someone. है ना? So, yes, that is also going to play a very
Ma'am,
big role. Yes, yes, bolo beta.
when somebody has BP, why do doctors and elders also say that keep silence in the house, don't talk much, don't
That's
make
what
so
they will
much
say,
of
but
noise
is
like
it going to be possible? Is it going to
No,
be possible?
not really. But why do they say that?
That is what, na? Like, if you be silent, if you be peaceful, if you are at peace, if you are stress free, if you are in a condition where the things are normal, then your, blood pressure won't fluctuate. And if it fluctuates too much, and if it goes to a very high threshold, it actually causes heart attacks. Actually, है ना? तो ये जो है वो शांति
Ma'am,
बनाए रखना, इक्विलिब्रियम बनाए रखना अपना काम है, और वो रखना ही चाहिए, है ना? हाँ, ऑफ कोर्स, लेकिन बीपी होने के रीजंस और भी बहुत कुछ है जो हम सर्कुलेशन चैप्टर में पढ़ेंगे. व्हाट आर द रीजंस फॉर हाई ब्लड प्रेशर, है ना? हाँ, then why is it advised to eat more PF salt to low BP persons and less? That's what I said, na beta? That is what. So how to control that is going to be an overall mechanism associated with the salt uptake and salt being throwing out in our ultrafiltration. So when we will talk about the kidney functioning, that time we will see that there are certain important hormones which are going to play a very important role in picking up of the NaCl and throwing off the NaCl. तो जिनका आयन बैलेंस बिगड़ जाता है, आयन मीन्स ION, आयन का बैलेंस बिगड़ जाता है, उनका सीधा सीधा जो इफेक्ट होता है वो ब्रेन पे होता है. पोटेशियम आयन अगर कम ज्यादा हो जाता है, सोडियम की लेवल कम, आपने देखा होगा, यू माइट हैव हर्ड अबाउट इट, सोडियम लेवल कम हो गई इसलिए पर्सन गॉट गिडी एंड फेल डाउन. पोटेशियम लेवल अगर बढ़ जाती है या कम हो जाती है तो ये प्रॉब्लम हो जाती है. सो बेसिकली it is for vasoconstriction and vasodilation. Vasoconstriction is the constriction of the blood vessels. Vasodilation is the release of the blood vessels. So in high blood pressure means what is happening? The filling up of the transportation of the blood in these capillaries is going to be under pressure. So if it is under pressure, there is a high chance that the walls of these capillaries or the walls of these blood vessels get damaged. So that pressure should not be extensive. तो वो प्रेशर बहुत ज्यादा अगर हो जाता है ना तो इट इज गोइंग टू कॉज डैमेज. और ब्लड का प्रेशर कब बढ़ेगा बेटा? उसका प्रेशर कब बढ़ेगा? जब उसके अंदर ज्यादा सॉल्ट्स आ जाते हैं, उसके अंदर ज्यादा फैट्स आ जाते हैं, थिक हो जाता है, ब्लड थिक हो जाता है, तो प्रेशर बढ़ता जाता है. तो देयर आर मेनी रीजंस. तो वी हैव टू stop the blood from becoming thicker. That is one of the reasons. Okay, so pressure अलग अलग रीजन से बढ़ेगा, नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. अलग अलग रीजन से. इन टोटलिटी व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट एज अ ह्यूमन फिजियोलॉजी, we can't only talk about respiration, we can't only talk about circulation, we only can't talk about excretion. When we complete this human physiology, now that time you will come to know we are actually interconnected. Respiration is interconnected with neural is interconnected with heart is interconnected with lungs is interconnected with digestion. I mean, all the systems are actually coordinated. So ऐसे कुछ कुछ जो टॉपिक्स है जो हमारे इसमें क्वेश्चन मार्क आता है ना कि अरे ऐसा इसका क्या होगा, that will be understood when, that is what I say, when I talk about circulation chapter you will understand, when I talk about excretion chapter you will understand. that is what so they all are correlated. जैसे कि लास्ट केस उन्होंने बोला है, देखो, increase in the blood pressure and increase in the body temperature, the breathing rate will increase. But what will cause the increase in the blood pressure? Those reasons are different. Those reasons are to be analyzed in our chapter of circulation. And there is something, why the salts are not being thrown out of the body, why they are restored. When they are not thrown out, and if we take more of salts और problem हो जाएगी. तो ये salts क्यों नहीं बाहर फेंके जाते हैं? It is a problem associated with our kidney functioning. So that time we'll have to talk about excretion and osmoregulation, because that chapter does not only mean excretion, it also has got osmoregulation, maintaining the osmotic balance. maintaining the salt balance. So in that also, we'll be talking about the reasons for the increase in BP. Samjha? So many things are associated, interconnected with each other. We are very complex, huh? But we are very interesting also.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I had a general question actually. What is the difference between heart attacks and cardiac arrest?
Circulation. Chapter of circulation. It's not a general question. It has to be understood in detail. Okay?
Okay, fine. Thank you, ma'am.
Irregular heartbeat and high BP is hereditary in my father's family. So how does that happen? Sometimes, it's actually the genes which are going to control everything. Okay, it's the genetic makeup. So there are certain genes which are not going to function properly, and that results in such type of hereditary inheritance issues that are carried out for generations after generations. So that is the main reason, that there is a particular gene which is responsible for a particular function. And if it is not functioning properly, then such type of things are carried as a legacy from one generation to next. Like diabetes होता है, किसी किसी के फैमिली में कैंसर होता है, किसी किसी के फैमिली में ब्लड प्रेशर का इशू है, किसी किसी के फैमिली में हार्ट का इशू है. तो वो एक जीन का नॉन फंक्शनल होने के बाद ये इश्यूज हो जाते हैं. ओके, so that also we'll be doing. Phenylketonuria hai, alkaptonuria hai, Klinefelter syndrome. I mean everything we are going to talk in detail in genetics. बहुत बढ़िया है वो. Why BP patients have to eat tablet for the rest of their life? Yes, bacha, because the tablets are the ones which are going to control the thickening of the blood. They are going to control the disposal of the salts from our body, keeping the blood pressure at basic minimum level. And if you miss that for a day, then what will happen? एक दिन भी miss नहीं करना होता है BP का medicine. एक दिन भी. Because एक दिन भी अगर आपने miss किया तो ये पूरा rhythm जो है ना, the rhythm that has been set in will get completely distorted. And again, then there are the chances like, kabhi-kabhi it leads to blood clotting. Sometimes it leads to your heart issues. Sometimes it might even lead to paralysis. So there are various effects of it. So we cannot skip the medicines for blood pressure. Okay?
Ma'am,
Huh.
why do we say that if a person has diabetes and BP together, it's very harmful for that person? Because of what reason does it become so harmful?
It is going to cause a pressure on heart. It's going to cause a pressure on the heart. The heart functioning is going to get impaired, and diabetes is so going to get all your organs impaired. It's a silent killer. Diabetes is called as a silent killer. It will silently start destruction of each and every organ of our system. So high sugars shall never be maintained in our body. See, it's okay. अगर किसी को diabetes है, तो it is not life threatening unless and until you don't keep the sugar level under control. एक बार diabetes हो गया, you cannot cure. You don't have a cure of diabetes. You only have to maintain the sugars. You can maintain the sugars by eating healthy food, by exercising, by taking regular checkups, taking the right type of medicines. You can control it. A person with diabetes can live for 100 years also. There is no harm in that. The only problem that they are saying, like when we say as doctors, when we say that you have to keep your diabetes under control. If it is not going to be under control, then it is a problem. If you are not going to keep the blood pressure under control, then it is a problem. A problem is a problem which is not a problem at all. That is what we have to understand. As doctors, we have to make the people understand that it is not a problem. You make it a problem by not following the diet, by not following the medications, by not following the right method of keeping yourself fit. Otherwise, it is not a problem at all. So some people have got that mindset कि मुझे diabetes हो गया, अब मैं मरने वाली हूँ. कुछ नहीं होता है, सबको मरना ही है एक ना एक दिन. You all are going to die. But it doesn't mean कि आज मुझे diabetes हुआ तो कल मैं मरने वाली हूँ. Or you can live for 100 years. But you are only making it a problem. Any problem is not a problem at all unless and until you don't follow the rules. It goes with everyone. Studying, not getting good marks is a problem. No, not getting good marks is not a problem. You're creating a problem for not getting good marks. You're not studying in the right way. You're not following the rules. So it is not a problem unless and until you make it. Please understand, the problems that are faced in our life are created by us. Otherwise, they are not problems at all. अगर कुछ होता है, we can overcome it, we can succeed, we can easily proceed ahead. But the right method, the right approach should be implemented, which is not done, and that is a problem. Okay, so that's something which is very crucial. Okay, so that's about the chemical control. Okay, the next part that we are to have in discussion is something called as exchange of gases. So basically we are going to talk about the two exchanges predominantly. One will be the exchange of gases with respect to oxygen, the other will be the exchange of gases with respect to CO2. Okay, but at different levels. So the exchange of gases is going to have different areas for being exchanged. Of course, the very first is going to be exchange of gases in the lungs. You're having maths lecture at 12, but then every time this will be a problem, beta. Because then, see, almost I have got 10, 12 minutes in my hand. And then every time if this is going to be an issue, we'll have to work on it. Because I cannot every time stop the lecture 10 minutes earlier, na? If you talk about 10 minutes early, then think about 4 lectures. एक मंथ में अपना कितना लॉस हो गया, 10, 20, 30, 40 मिनट्स का मेरा मतलब एक अपना पूरा लेक्चर कम हो जाता है एक महीने में. तो जितना पोर्शन मेरा एक महीने में कंप्लीट हो जाएगा उसमें से 40 मिनट्स का अपना रह जाएगा. तो मतलब नेक्स्ट क्लास में मुझे उतना 40 मिनट्स अरेंज करना पड़ेगा. यू गेट मी? सो something has to be done with this because every time I am not going to give that 10 minutes buffer time to you all. हाँ बोलो.
But if the maths class is at 12 and we are also finishing at 12, so in 2 minutes we can finish everything and then say that's not.
Yeah, but now probably they want a break for say 5-10 minutes or whatever, है ना? So
if we have 2 successive lectures, then we should not even desire for a break, I guess.
No, that's fine. I don't have any objection to this, but we'll have to work on this because I cannot donate my 40 minutes per month like this way. Okay. So anyways, for today, I will not go ahead with the exchange of gases thing, but we'll have to work out with this. Otherwise, you will have to make up with this. You will have to make up with this that you have to sit in continuation, or we have to work on this that if 15 minutes का थोड़ा सा अगर late रख सकते हैं तो we'll have to work on this. Okay. But otherwise it will be very difficult because 40 minutes I am not going to lose in a month. Okay, chal, fine, no issues.